Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Desiree Alexander, aka Educator Alexander, and here's your 5-minute tip for this week. So, I was asked for a couple of tips to help teachers be more equitable in their classroom, specifically when you're dealing with students who are learning online in some shape or fashion, and they may not have the best internet at home. So, my first tip is to tell your students to turn on offline access in their Google Drive. So, to do that, they have to be on the internet to turn it on. You're going to come here to the gear, go to settings. You're going to come right here to offline access. Notice it says they need to be on a computer that they either own or a computer that they're only working on. So just keep that in mind. And then when you click this on, it may take a minute or two, depending on your internet speed. I've seen it take up to 5 minutes to go through. So click this and go make a sandwich if you need to do that. But click it and then click done. What this is going to allow is your students to edit Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides. I think I just turned it off. Google Docs, turning it back on. Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides, even if they don't have the internet turned on. So how is this going to work? When they click on the internet and it says, you are not on the internet or you don't have internet, they still want to go ahead and mosey along to Google Drive. So even though it's going to look silly to do so because they don't have the internet, still go to Google Drive. So drive.google.com. When they get here, everything will be grayed out except for their Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides. They're going to be able to click into them and fill stuff out and still do the work. But what happens is it's going to save locally. That means, let's say me and you, or you and I, have a document shared between us. Well, if I'm working on offline access, you are not going to be able to see what I'm working on. You're not going to be able to see it because it's saving locally to my computer. But as soon as I hit Wi-Fi again with that device, it's going to update like magic, and then you will be able to see it. So it really is just for them to work on it. It's not for them to share. It's not for them to turn it in. It's just for them to work on it. So you see my offline access is back up. Yay. So the cool thing is once you have it back up, if you right click on a document, you'll see make this available offline. So you can actually turn it on per document if you want to. But let me show you something. There's a cool button up here that says ready for offline. So I'm going to click that and it's going to have an offline preview so I can see how this looks. So notice everything is grayed out except for my docs, my slides, and my sheets. So I can actually get into this and work on it, and it will save locally. I didn't have anything in here, so that's why it looks like that. But let's do one where I have something in it. So you see I have my stuff in here, and I can click on this and work on it. So if I right click on this, notice I don't have this button turned on, but I can still work on it. Because you turned it on for your whole Google Drive, you really don't have to turn it on per document. But I want to give you some tips if you want to do that as well. So I'm going to get off of offline preview. And if you want to turn it on per document, there's a couple of tips. If you have them kind of all in a row, you can highlight a bunch of them, right click, and click offline access. You can also use your control button. So I can click this one and then hit control and click this one. And now they're both highlighted and I can turn on offline access. You can also come up here and just click search in Drive and say, I want to see all my documents. Then I can come here and highlight a bunch of them, right click, and hit offline access. So different ways that you can turn it on per document as well, especially if you're seeing benefits from doing that. The next thing I want to show you is an extension called Print Friendly and PDF. The reason why I like this as an equitable tool is because if you want your students to read something online, instead of actually sending them the link and they have to have the internet to get to the link, why don't you download it as a PDF? The reason for that is if your students have to, let's say, go to the library, they don't have to sit there for 3 hours reading and doing stuff. They can actually download the PDF and then go home and read it without the internet. Now, of course, they have to have a PDF reader and you can download those for free. So if I want to send them this article, this is an extension. So you would have to download the extension, or they can, and you can actually tell them to do this in class before they go home for the next day if you have that kind of hybrid situation. But you would click Print Friendly and PDF, and it brings it into this screen. Another reason I like it versus just saving it as a PDF is you can actually delete stuff. So if I don't want this picture, click it. If I don't want this, just click whatever you want to click and delete. I don't want that word. I don't want that. I don't want this whole paragraph. So there you go. So you can just click, 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 make it what you want to make it. And then you can save it as a PDF and then upload the PDF to whatever LMS you're using, like Schoology or Canvas or Google Classroom. I'm just going to go ahead and consider that an LMS right now. So then again, your students can download the story and still read it, but they don't have to have the internet. The last thing I want to talk about are videos. So no matter what video platform you use, I'm using Screencastify. Instead of sending them the link to the video, where of course they have to click on the link and watch the video wherever they have internet, why don't you download the video and then send them the actual video? Then, if they can download the video, they can watch the video at home without having the internet. Now, of course, there's a couple of things you want to think about. One is if you download the video and send it to them, then they can own the video. So if that's something you're like, no, then you won't be able to use this tip. Another thing, if your video file is so super huge that it's going to take me 5 hours to download it, then that's a little, that's defeating the purpose. So what I've seen some teachers do is give the student the option. They will give them the link and give them the downloaded video. So they have the option of both. So just an example, in Screencastify, I would click download and then click export as MP4, click export, and then whenever this is done, I'm going to click download. Then I actually have the video for myself, and I can just upload that actual video to the platform that I want to deliver it to my students. So I'm just going to give this a second so you can see the download button. Download MP4. I'll go ahead and click it. Now it's downloading. So that's the video that's going to be on my desktop or wherever your stuff downloads, and you can put that in your LMS. So just 3 very quick things that you can do to be a little bit more equitable or just help your students out in your classroom. Last little tip, if you are teaching in a hybrid situation where you see your students on A day and not on B day and that kind of thing, why don't you think about the last 3 minutes of class as download time? Get them set up and prepared for success before they go home. So if you have PDFs and videos and all that kind of stuff, why don't we download as much as we can before you send them home? So those are your 3 quick tips to be a little bit more equitable and just help your students out during this time. Good luck.